Good day. My name is Jomar Reyes. I'll be presenting today's session, what content means to you and your business. Now, this is for the entrepreneur. My name is Jomar Reyes. I'm from the Strategic Media Company, and we also have the digital media workshops that we run for training purposes. Just quickly about the Strategic Media Company. It's a creative studio. We're based 15 minutes north of Copenhagen, and this is where we also have the home of the digital media workshops. We're co-located with a company called Profil Bureau, which is a brand product design company, designer, creative space where we produce online content for film, online magazine, photography, music, and we also produce our workshops as well. Quickly about myself. My experience, I have multinational corporate experience since 1986, working with companies like IBM, which was great to get insight into technology, AC Nielsen, which gave, again, more insight into the marketing and marketing research. And I've also dealt with clients such as Apple, Adobe, Autodesk, Sony, Panasonic, and Dell. Here in Denmark, I've also worked for Saxo Bank. And I also have a background in publishing with Digital Media World magazine, where I was handling the business development and marketing. And I have my own entrepreneurial side, which is the Creative Media Network. Music Producers Forum has nearly 30,000 members. So the digital media workshops is where we provide training to our clients and also initiatives like the Creative Business Cup. And I also lecture with the digital media and marketing and creative industries to university college students from the USA. So I'm also an entrepreneur, so hopefully my journey and my past, I can really package to you in a way that's helpful, that means something to you. You may not have the background with the corporate side of things or the marketing side of things, and hopefully today's session, what I want to do is basically plant some key thoughts into your mind regarding what you need to look out for as you create your tell the story, not just to investors, but also to an audience of your potential clients. And that's where content comes in really handy. Firstly, the digital age. Now, this is something for myself, having my career started in the mid-80s. I've really seen the advent of the digital age. We've seen the media industries traditionally with publishing of magazines, television, and radio. That's all been revolutionized. It's no secret, but I think it's a really important theme for us as we move forward with our entrepreneurial ventures, that this digital age is really changing everything that we do, the products that we purchase, the products that our customers purchase, what they look into, also marketing and branding. There's so many things, so many factors that have come into play that entrepreneurs need to really take full advantage of. The other thing to think about is, what is content? It doesn't sound like something that we grew up in school learning about, but it's something that is everywhere now, and it's something that people are more reliant on through the digital age than ever before. So when people are looking at their smartphones, their tablets, or their PCs, content is everywhere, but it's also the traditional things that we used to watch on television, listen to on radio, read in the newspaper. And what we're now seeing is the shift from those traditional mediums onto digital. And content is really something that is starting to become more, not just accessible for everyone, but more and more people can actually create it. This is a really important point. And I think that if you have a look at traditionally, a company would create a different kind of content, and that would be advertising content. Now, advertising content was more of an expense than an asset, where content today, whether it's on your website or an online video, that is something that will provide you ongoing return throughout, the cycle of you having it online, which is a lifetime, which is pretty much like, if you look at a house, that is an asset. It provides you return on investment, the purchase that you've made. It puts a roof over your head over the course of time. So content needs to be, in terms of how it's thought, the shift from an expense to an asset. The other thing that's really important with content is storytelling. Now, storytelling is not an easy thing to do. Some people do it better than others. Some industries are better than others. But it is absolutely core to any type of marketing for any company, be it a startup, be it Apple, be it IBM, be it your corner grocery will also start to have their stories being told as more and more come online. The other thing is, it's the opportunity to tell your story. And if you're starting a company, you're creating a brand, and every brand has a story. And with most startups, you have the most interesting story to tell, how you came up with the idea, who you're going to serve, who are your competitors, what's that need in the marketplace that you want to service. All those points become really compelling stories. So they're things that you can actually... There's also the story. Now, having customer testimonials, we've all seen brochures and recommendations and advertorials of people using a product, and those infomercials of people, losing incredible amounts of weight by using a product. Concept is similar, but we have an opportunity now to do something even better, in that we can really take a customer's success story and using your product, put it online, put it on a video. Every customer has a story. And the chances are that if it's a great story and it's a great market, a lot of your future customers will be able to relate to their stories. The other thing content does, whether it's a website or a video, it can give you a competitive edge. It can make you stand out of the crowd by telling your story, by telling what it is your unique offering is, what your customers are saying about yourself. This can give you a competitive edge either against your competitors, or if you're looking at investors actually investing money in your particular startup, it can help you stand out, get your message out there more clearly. The other thing that content can do is it can really make you stand out as an industry authority. It can really develop your reputation. It can develop a strong community and strong sense of community. If we have a look at what Saxo Bank is doing with tradingfloor.com, they've now developed an online magazine with tradingfloor.com. They have some of their best analysts now writing on it, also giving television interviews. They're really developing a strong reputation as a source of content. The next step that they've taken is they've also included an area where you can actually join their community. So as human beings, we like to be a part of a community. And this is what startups have an opportunity to do, is get their users, their customers together in the form of a strong community. So we'll focus a bit more on that a bit later as well. The other thing to think about is when you're developing your content strategy is you have the opportunity to create insights or really delve into what your business is about by who's actually visiting your website. And this is what we call business intelligence. When you use a product or a program like Google Analytics, you can actually see quite a bit of information in terms of number of visits per day. You can see a heat map, and you can also see things like what particular articles people are reading. So you can get an idea of who your customers are, also where they are, and you can also develop a better idea of what they want. Now, in terms of what is content, we can have a look at content being articles, images, video, TV and film, and also audio. We'll be touching a bit today on the article side of things, and a little bit on the images, but we'll probably be focusing a bit more on the video and the film and TV side of things. There's also audio in the sense of audio podcasts, which can work for some brands, not for all, but again, it is a good tool that's there when needed. If we have a look at the blogs and the online magazines, basically what you have is you have a written story, kind of like an online magazine, a book. You've got, you'll have categories, you'll have the ability for your customers to actually go in and search for different stories. Might be about your product, it might be about customer testimonials. Now what's happening here is that with blogs, and now I like to refer to a blog that is well curated and planned as being an online magazine. They are basically now online. They're more accessible. So we're having people throughout the world who are accessing your content through smartphones, through tablets, and through, of course, computers. So people are online more often, also in more places. So it's quite important to have a look at having your story on the online side of things, on a content management system such as WordPress, which is the main one that we use and many of you may already be aware of. The other thing to think about is that Google, at its core, what Google wants to do is they want to deliver answers to their users. They want to make sure that whenever anyone goes to visit their website with a question, that they get directed to a site that has the best answers. Now, the best answers usually are the websites that have been optimized for search engine optimization, which is great. The keyword, it'll be matched to the keyword, but the other important thing is that the content has to be compelling enough for the viewer to stay and actually read it. So Google's place in this, and now I talk about Google as the main search engine. They actually have about, according to some of the websites that I look after, 97% of search engine traffic comes through Google. And then that's followed by the likes of Yahoo and Bing, which fall into the small single-digit numbers. So at the end of the day, we have to create stories that really target Google's search algorithm. And there's lots of information about how to optimize your SEO. But in this particular webinar, what we'll just be talking about is really the power of content and the power of storytelling. An interesting note of what's happened over this time is traditionally publications came from publication companies. So companies that produced magazines or broadcast networks that produced television shows. What's happened with technology today is that the brand or brands are rapidly becoming the publishers. They are starting to create their content to reach the audience. Now, the ones that do it well, the ones that engage their clients, the ones that build lifelong relationships with their clients, their content has less promotion, it has more education, it has more information like product information, and ultimately it provides some inspiration to them as well. And that might be through customer testimonials. Ultimately, what we're looking at happening is that the marketplace or the individual visitors are influenced more towards your actual brand or the products that are actually sponsoring the content. So from blogs to online magazines, we also have the analytics, as I was talking about earlier. And what that does, as I mentioned, is it creates what I call business intelligence. Now, business intelligence in the terms of we can have a look at a heat map and we can actually see where our traffic is coming from. And on the right-hand side, you can see there's an overview of the average time on page, the number of page views, and you can see which over here, which pages are viewed more often. So what Google Analytics does is provides us basically insights that once upon a time were either totally impossible to find or cost literally tens of thousands of dollars from companies like AC Nielsen to get these insights on. Google Analytics, if you make sure that that you're using it and that you're actually looking at the insights regularly and looking at data, but looking at any particular patterns that you might see that come through through the Google Analytics. And again, Google Analytics itself that's another long conversation or a long another webinar session that could probably come up down the track. Now, the other thing to think about with content is the image. Now, as they say, a picture says 1,000 words, and as we communicate online or in print, it's really about finding the right image that services your content. So, these are a bunch of images that I've pulled out of Flickr under the Creative Commons license, which you can then use for your website if you're using it for non-commercial, direct commercial purposes. But if you're creating editorial content, as long as you're citing your references, you can use their content. It's also not that expensive these days to use a DSLR camera. The price range of those, even from the consumer level, will produce stunning image quality. That being said, the reviews of the iPhone 5S and the 6 and the 6 Plus, a lot of people are really starting to move away from having the smaller compact cameras, which have traditionally produced a lot of some great imagery. But now we're finding that the phones are actually taking over as a fantastic tool to capture compelling content. The other thing to also think about with the iPhones is they also take video, but video is quite another story. If we have a look at the online video, particularly YouTube, which drives the majority of online video traffic, it does have a high degree of difficulty in terms of producing your video content. I would call it medium to high, but the rewards are also medium to high, and we'll have a quick look at some of the videos that are out there as samples, and we can walk through them as case studies. So if we have a look at one of our first case studies, this is the Nordic Startup Conference, and I'll just quickly power up the YouTube page. It's not sharing. So just bear with me for a second. Okay, I'll just share this. So I'll just stop that one there. And basically, with that Nordic Startup Conference, what we could see is that was actually filmed before the actual conference had started. So we were able to talk to the actual founders of the Nordic Startup Conference. we were able to get their visions of what they were envisaging the conference to be, and to really get their story told, but from them actually telling it was something that was quite powerful. Using 2 different cameras and some what we call B-rolls and exterior shots, we're able to tell the story visually and really come up with what the Nordic Startup Conference was about. They ended up having a full house. It was a conference program of 40 speakers, and there was over 400 delegates. So it was really showing that the startup scene in Copenhagen was very, very strong. So producing this video for us to be able to tell the story of the Nordic Startup Conference before it even existed was really essential to have the founders actually tell their story, and as much as we can, using the venue as a prop to say, here is where it's going to be held. So that was quite a good success story in terms of creating the hype about a future product by having the founders of a product actually telling you what is the product about, what its vision, what its unique in the audience, to actually capture the tone in their voice, the expression and the passion. Video is incredibly powerful for that. It also captures the human element. So we see that both Yusenko and his partner are real people. It's not just a website that's promoting something that's about to come up. Again, showing the venue gives the viewers a feeling that it's real. So if you're a startup and you have a product that's in prototype, you might have a 3D printout of the product. You can actually physically show your audience the product in your hand, how it fits and how it moves around. So, video is an incredibly powerful tool for existing companies and for startups as well. It also tells a story. I mean, you have a captive audience of people who will watch it from start to finish. And if you've got your story well planned out, you'll be able to really take them through the different stages of your storytelling and give them a real feeling of what the spirit is of the product or the concept that you have. I've got another video here, and this is, I suppose, this is from Canon, and this is using product ambassadors. So in this particular case, and again, it's about using some of their products, both from a professional photographer's angle, and also from a music artist who isn't quite a professional photographer. But let's have a look at how their story rolls out.
Sorry that you didn't share something.
What?
Just tell them that you didn't share this because I want to see.
I'll share it with them.
Yeah, now I can see it, or I can see it now, but just mention that.
Yeah, so the great thing with that Canon story, now I'm not sure if we had a bit of lag in that, if you're watching the video through the Google Hangout, but it is actually a YouTube clip, so I'll make sure that we can post the link to that YouTube video so that you can actually see it. I use that video quite often in training because on a number of levels, it's the basic story of having product ambassadors, a professional photographer, also taking someone who's not so experienced with photography, taking them out on the road, so they're actually sharing a journey about how to use a particular product. The other angle that I really like with that is, again, it brings to the forefront the power of the image. Now, when both the professional photographer and the music artist, the other guy was a music artist from Australia, when they had a look at the final products, the images that they captured told amazing stories, you know, by using the different situations, different angles, and different lenses. So, and that's where, you know, we're actually seeing Canon's products in action, where they're actually changing the lenses for the different environments, and it gives a different feel for the photographs. So, you know, on a number of levels, that's quite a good case study. So, so yeah. Now, Just a few words about social media. There's been a lot of hype about social media, and over recent times, social media has been an area for marketing. We've seen a lot of companies setting up social media managers. Once upon a time, companies would just get their interns in and managing their social media. But it was really companies' ways of saying, look, we don't really understand this. We'll get the young people to handle it and to manage it for us. Now, this is basically a recipe for disaster, especially in an area such as social media that has been rapidly evolving over the last 4 to 5 years, particularly with the likes of companies like Facebook that are dominating the social media landscape. In the way that they actually dominate it, when they do make subtle changes, we find that it has quite a big impact on how our original marketing plan with using that social network happens. There's been a case where Facebook have changed their algorithm in terms of how people will see company pages, updates from company pages. And once that algorithm's changed, company page holders have seen their page, their posts viewed dropping from 40% down to anywhere. So, what was once a great idea in terms of using social media and investing a lot in it, you're at the mercy of how, their policies and what they do. Yeah. But, social media is not something to be ignored. One particular ingredient that is very important for social media is content. There's nothing worse than sharing stuff on social media that is, purely selling a product or a service. People go to social media, or they use their social media for entertainment, for information, for a story. So this is where, within your content strategy, whether it's blog posts, articles, or videos, make sure that you do share it on your social media. But also just be aware of the pitfalls of being overly dependent on social media. There are a few things also on the cloud these days to be aware of. Obviously, there's WordPress, MailChimp, and we've covered a little bit of Google Analytics. And I'm currently having a look at a CRM system called Insightly. All of these products are free, and they help you manage your customers once you've actually acquired them. So the whole idea of using content within your strategy, you'll have something like WordPress that will actually attract traffic to your website. You can get them to register with their details plugged into a MailChimp account, and you can also then import that into a product like Insightly CRM, a customer relationship management program, to capture any of the leads that you get through that. And also you've got Google Analytics to actually measure the traffic that's coming in, where it's coming in from. So within this kind of ecosystem here, where you have got content, here are some of the platforms that you can use to capture and manage and measure your leads as they come in online. I can quickly show you an example of how I've set this up with the Music Producers Forum. Now, the Music Producers Forum is a community for anyone who's involved in creating or producing music. I'll just get the right link there. Now, I started this website in 2007. And again, here we have content. So what I'm creating here is like an online magazine. And you can see here that I've had sponsorship from different organizations. This is a music seminar held in New York. It was one of the biggest music seminars, or one of the oldest ones actually, that started in the 80s. And I've got a sponsorship agreement here as well. Now while this is coming across as an independent publication, this could easily be a magazine set up by a music store, a music shop, or a new startup company that actually has something to do with the music industry. What I've done is created different categories. We have a look down here. You've got the different category listings. There's a search functionality button. So it is pretty much like an online magazine as we click onto it. Now, again, this is content itself, but again, it could be easily, this similar format could pretty much be like a brand or a company that has actually set up an online publication. Now, here's a call to action here. You can see on every page, I've got join the Music Producers Forum, register here. Now this is the lead capture part. So we're asking people to actually join the Music Producers Forum. There are benefits, there's career development, there's some special offers that we have with partners. And this is where we're actually capturing names and addresses. Now I mentioned before that content is an asset. The other asset that your company will have is its database. So you can see there that this actually now feeds into a MailChimp database. Yeah. The other thing that we can have a look at is the analytics side of things. Now if we have, we may not actually be able to look into that at the moment because I'm actually logged into another account for the Google Hangout, but we could see before within the presentation. I might be able to just quickly go back and have a look at those screenshots that I had. There we go. So there are a couple of things that you pull out within Google Analytics. A very powerful thing is the heat map, particularly if you've got an online product. When I was pitching to advertisers like the School of Audio Engineering, they were very interested to see that I had a very strong presence in the USA. They're also interested to see that I had ongoing traffic coming in, and also the kind of articles that were being read, provided a bit of insight in terms of who my customers were. Now, in terms of targeting your audience, you can use this through having content and having your website where your content is based, connectivity track where this traffic is coming from. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of my presentation in terms of some of the key things with content. I'll just quickly go through here again. From blogs to the online magazine, it is about the written story. It's about being online. It's about dealing with Google. Just being aware that you as a brand, you are the publisher, you have the opportunity now to reach more people than ever before with the online side of things. And also remember that the content that you produce, you want to influence your audience. And to do that, it's not providing too much promotion. It's about providing education, information, and being a source of inspiration. So, so I hope that that you have taken a little bit or some ideas that have really triggered some thoughts in your minds as you go through with your endeavors with being an entrepreneur. And yes, I'm available for any questions and comments. My email address is jomar@strategicmediacompany.net. And you can follow me on Twitter at Jomar, Jomar, Reyes. And wish you guys the best of luck and look forward to seeing you at the Creative Business Cup.